He didn't belong in her world, but she'll slay anyone to keep him in it. Ryan Ashford woke to burning metal and blood. The cockpit swam in and out of focus, emergency lights painting everything red. Through the fractured canopy, twin suns blazed in an alien sky. Movement outside, shadows with tactical precision. The canopy exploded inward, and she was there, silhouetted against violet sky, weapon trained on his chest. Teal skin drank in the light. Orange eyes like burning coals studied him with predatory focus, bioluminescent patterns flaring along her neck. "Don't move," she said. His translator rendered her words in perfect English. Ryan raised his hand slowly, blood running from a gash along his temple. She gestured, and 2 soldiers materialized. One wrenched the cockpit door open, while the other kept a weapon on him. She stepped closer, moved like controlled violence. When she gripped his flight suit and hauled him from the wreckage, the casual strength told him everything about the mismatch between their species. She dropped him onto scorched earth. Ryan hit hard, rolled gasping. She stood over him, patterns pulsing with her heartbeat beneath form-fitting armor. "You survived this," she said. "Your reactor output suggests forces that should have liquefied your organs during entry." She circled him slowly. "Yet you live. Explain." "Good engineering." Her boot pressed his chest, not crushing but enough to make breathing difficult. "Your species achieved faster than light travel 73 cycles ago. We've had it for 12,000. Your reactor is primitive. By our calculations, it should have failed before clearing orbit." She leaned forward. "Yet you penetrated our detection grid and survived. Explain." Ryan met those burning eyes. "We cheat." The pressure eased, her head tilted. "Your math is perfect. You calculate every variable and don't proceed until the numbers guarantee success." Ryan pushed himself up. She didn't stop him. "Humans? We guess. We improvise. We build solutions that shouldn't work and fly them anyway. My reactor runs hot because we don't care about efficiency. We care about results." "Reckless," she said. "Effective." They stared at each other. Her patterns shifted through colors, settling on azure shot through with gold. Her soldiers shifted uncomfortably. "Commander Talira once said, we should return to base." She ignored him, then stepped back and gestured. "Bind him." They hauled Ryan up and secured energy cuffs around his wrists. He tested them, earned a shock that traveled up both arms. Talira watched him twitch, approval flickering across her features. "You'll walk. If you run, my soldiers will cripple you. If you fight, they'll kill you. Choose." "Lead the way, Commander." Her eyes flashed at his use of her title. She turned toward a transport vessel crouched in the clearing. Ryan followed, flanked by guards. Purple-black vegetation stretched in every direction. Twin suns cast everything in shades Earth had never known. In the distance, mountains rose like broken teeth. He'd made it. Earth now knew exactly what it took to reach this world undetected. The transport's interior was elegant. They secured Ryan in a seat that molded to his body. Talira took position across from him. The craft lifted without sound. "Your name," Talira said. "Captain Ryan Ashford, Earth Alliance Fleet, Test Division." Test Division. Her markings brightened. "You're not a soldier. You're a laboratory subject who survived." Ryan grinned despite the blood on his face. "I prefer Pioneer." She leaned forward, close enough that he could see deeper orange flecks in her eyes. "Do you understand what your presence here means? That humanity's got better pilots than you thought? That your species just declared war?" Ryan's smile faded. "We're not at war," he said carefully. "Not yet, but you will be. Once my government learns what your ship is capable of, you've proven humanity can strike any of our worlds at will. That makes you an existential threat. Or a potential ally." She laughed, sharp and bitter. "We don't ally with species who infiltrate our space with military assets. We eradicate them." The transport descended. Through the viewport, Ryan saw a facility emerging from the forest, angular architecture, landing pads, defensive emplacements, a military installation. They landed seamlessly. Talira led them through humming corridors to a detention area. They sealed him in a cell with shimmering energy walls. Talira dismissed her soldiers. "You'll remain here while we analyze your ship." If you cooperate with interrogation, your death will be quick. If you resist, we have methods that will extract every memory before your mind breaks. Ryan moved to the barrier. What if I told you I volunteered for this mission knowing I'd probably die here? Her markings dimmed. Then you're either incredibly brave or catastrophically stupid. Can't it be both? She almost smiled, then her expression hardened. Get some rest, Captain. Tomorrow we begin properly. She turned to leave. Ryan called after her. Commander Talira, thank you for not killing me at the crash site. She turned, fixing him with those burning eyes. Don't thank me yet. Death might have been kinder. She left him alone. Hours passed. Guards rotated. They brought him food. He ate, lay on the platform serving as a bed, and stared at the ceiling. Admiral Shaw had been clear. Survive long enough to let them study the ship. Buy Earth time to prepare. What Shaw hadn't mentioned was what to do if the enemy commander looked at you like you were a puzzle she desperately wanted to solve. Ryan was still thinking about those orange eyes when sleep claimed him. He woke to Talira outside his cell, flanked by a male officer whose armor bore elaborate markings. Deep jade skin shot through with silver patterns suggesting authority. On your feet, the male said. Ryan stood. Something had changed. Talira's markings were dark, suppressed. Her jaw was tight. She wouldn't meet his eyes. Captain Ashford, I am Commander Caldris, second to Commander Talira. We've completed preliminary analysis of your vessel. He produced a data tablet flickering with schematics. Your crash was no accident. Your telemetry shows deliberate navigation through our detection grid, course corrections suggesting detailed knowledge of our sensors, and a transmission beacon that activated when you breached atmosphere, broadcasting your success back to Earth. Ryan's heart hammered. You weren't testing experimental technology, you were testing our defenses. Caldris turned to Talira, whose markings flared. High Matriarch Sivan has issued orders. The prisoner is to be executed at dawn, and I am to lead the strike fleet to Earth. We will eliminate this threat before it grows beyond control. Caldris's amber eyes fixed on Ryan. Your species chose this path. Now you will die knowing your homeworld follows. The tablet clattered as Caldris strode away, leaving Talira alone outside Ryan's cell. Her markings cycled through colors too fast to follow. When she finally looked at him, he saw something in those burning eyes. Not hatred, not triumph. Betrayal. Talira stood outside his cell for 3 minutes after Caldris left. Her markings cycled through colors, violet, crimson, midnight blue. Her hands flexed repeatedly. You used me, she finally said. Ryan moved to the barrier. Job. Your job was to make us underestimate you. And I fell for it. Her voice dropped. I've spent 15 cycles earning my command. In one day, you made me look like a fool. Ryan held her gaze. I'm sorry. Your apology means nothing. In 12 hours, you'll be dead. In 36, your homeworld will be burning. She stepped closer. Was it worth it? If it saves even one life, yes. Her markings settled into deep amber. You actually believe that. I volunteered knowing I wouldn't come home. Ryan pressed his palm against the barrier, felt the sting. But we had to prove we wouldn't just accept whatever judgment you passed on us. So you provoked us into war. We showed you we're dangerous enough to be taken seriously. Talira studied him, then she turned and walked away. Ryan sank onto the sleeping platform. 12 hours until execution. This was always how it would end. Hours passed. The facility's lighting dimmed. Footsteps in the corridor. Ryan sat up as Talira emerged from shadows, alone. She wore sleeker armor. Her markings were suppressed. On your feet, she said quietly. Ryan stood. The council wants you dead. They want to broadcast your execution as a warning. That's not why you're here. No. She pointed a device at the control panel. The barrier died. I've been thinking about what you said. About improvising instead of following perfect calculations. She stepped into the cell. My people have been dominant for 3,000 cycles. We've grown comfortable. And now you're wondering if that comfort made you weak. I'm wondering if killing you to protect our pride will doom us. She held out her weapon, grip first. I can't let them kill you without knowing if maybe you're right. Ryan stared at the weapon. This is treason. Yes, they'll hunt you. I know, her markings flared brilliant azure, but you made me question everything. Ryan took the weapon. Your ship is 3 levels down. I've disabled primary guards, but backup teams will respond within 6 minutes. She turned toward the entrance. Can you fly with the damage? If the reactor's intact, yes. Then we move now. They slipped into the corridor. Talira moved like shadow, avoiding security sensors. 2 corridors later, the alarm wailed. Move. They ran. Talira dropped soldiers ahead. Ryan covered their rear. They hit a junction, and Talira yanked him through a door into a maintenance shaft. Down. Ryan followed her down the ladder. Above, something impacted the sealed door. They reached the analysis bay. Through a window, Ryan saw his ship, crumpled, scorched, but the reactor housing intact. Can you fly that? Talira asked. Watch me. She opened the bay doors. Night sky appeared beyond. Ryan sprinted to his ship, dropped into the cockpit. The reactor came online. Talira appeared at the edge. They're sealing the hangar. Ryan grabbed her wrist and pulled. She tumbled into the cockpit, landing across his lap. What are you doing? If you stay, they'll execute you. He secured the harness around her. You made your choice when you opened that cell. My family are dead the moment they connect you to my escape. Talira stared at him. Then she slammed her palm against the throttle. The ship lurched forward. The bay doors were closing. Ryan angled up and punched maximum thrust. They squeezed through with inches to spare. Then they were airborne, climbing as weapons fire lit the darkness. Shots splashed against failing shields. Talira diverted power from life support to shields. They broke atmosphere with pursuit craft behind them. Ryan pushed the reactor past redline. Talira returned fire. One pursuer exploded. Another. The third peeled off. They're retreating, Talira said. Or calling in bigger ships. Ryan keyed the FTL sequence. Hold on. I'm strapped to you? Then hold on to me. She wrapped her arms around his chest. Her markings blazed white. Ryan could feel her heart hammering. The jump drive engaged. They vanished into faster-than-light, leaving her world behind. The ship dropped out of FTL with alarms screaming. Ryan fought the controls as the hull shuddered. Red warnings painted the cockpit. Where are we? Talira asked, still pressed against him. No idea. Jumped blind. Ryan scanned his instruments, but we're alive. Your optimism is either inspiring or delusional. Can it be both? Her arms were still wrapped around his chest, gripped tight. He could feel her trembling. Talira, I need to breathe. She released him, tried to pull back in the confined space. Her knee hit a control panel. Her elbow caught his ribs. They were tangled in a cockpit designed for one. This is ridiculous, she muttered. The reactor sputtered. Ryan diverted remaining power to stabilize it. The ship began losing altitude, drawn by a planet below, purple and green with massive storm systems. We're going down, he said. Can you control it? Define control. They hit atmosphere. The ship bucked and rolled. Ryan wrestled controls, but half the thrusters were dead. The ground rushed up. He spotted a river cutting through forest and aimed for water. They hit like a bomb. Water exploded around them. The ship tumbled, rolled, came to rest half submerged in shallows. Ryan tasted blood. His head rang. Talira? She groaned against his shoulder. Her markings flickered weakly. Still here. The cockpit was filling with water. Ryan hit the harness release and Talira climbed out first. He followed, every muscle protesting. They waded to the riverbank and collapsed on shore. Purple vegetation surrounded them. Talira lay on her back, chest heaving. Her armor was cracked, revealing teal skin. A cut above her eye leaked dark blood. Where are we? She asked. Ryan checked his emergency beacon. Dead. He looked up. Single sun, wrong color, unfamiliar constellations. Somewhere in the outer sectors, maybe uncharted. So we're lost. Thoroughly. She turned to look at him. Her markings had settled into dim orange. They'll come looking for me. Caldrus will send ships. Will they find us? Eventually, my people are very good at hunting traitors. Ryan sat up, wincing. His weapon was still mag-locked to his belt. He checked the charge, half depleted. Then we need shelter, he scanned the area. There. See that rock formation? A cliff face rose from the forest with cave openings. Defensible, Talira said. They salvaged what they could from wreckage, a survival pack, ration bars, a medical kit. Not much. The hike took an hour. Talira limped, favoring her left side. Ryan's ribs protested every breath. The cave entrance opened into a larger chamber. Ryan activated a light stick. This'll work, he said. Talira sank against the wall, eyes closed. Her markings had gone completely dark. Ryan knelt beside her with the medical kit. Let me see that cut. She held still while he cleaned the wound. Her skin was warmer than human, smoother. The patterns ran deeper than he'd thought. Up close, she was striking in a way that made his chest tighten. There, he said, applying a bandage. Your species' medical technology is crude, but effective. She almost smiled, then her expression sobered. What did I do, Ryan? I betrayed everything. My oath, my people, my family. Her voice cracked. My mother served 40 cycles. My sister commands a frigate, and I just destroyed them both. You saved my life. Was it worth theirs? Ryan had no answer. He'd known sacrifice, but never been forced to choose between mission and family. I don't know, but staying meant your death too, and sometimes the only way forward is to burn everything behind you and hope you can build something new. Talira looked at him. Then she reached out and traced the cut on his temple, touch featherlight. You're bleeding too. Just a scratch. Let me. She took the kit and cleaned his wound with steady hands. This close he could smell her, ozone and copper and alien flowers. Her breath ghosted across his skin. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? Choosing me, even if it damns us both. Her hand stilled against his face. She met his eyes, and something passed between them, recognition, understanding that they were both lost now. She leaned forward and kissed him. Tentative at first, questioning. Her lips were softer than he expected. Ryan froze, then his hand came up to cup the back of her neck. She pressed closer. When they broke apart, her markings blazed brilliant azure. That was, she started. Yeah. Outside, something roared in the distance. We should rest, Ryan said. Take turns on watch. Agreed. But neither moved. They stayed close as darkness fell and the alien forest came alive with sounds they didn't recognize. Hours later, Ryan woke to Talira's hand over his mouth. Her markings were dark. She gestured toward the entrance. Engines, multiple ships overhead, search patterns, lights swept the treetops. They pressed deeper into the cave. The ships circled, landed nearby. They found us, Talira whispered. How? Tracking my biosignature. Every member of the military has an implant. She touched the base of her skull. I should have removed it before we jumped. Voices outside, sharp commands. Someone organizing a search grid. Ryan checked his weapon. Still half-charged, against a squad of trained soldiers, their odds were terrible. We can't fight them all, he said. No. Then we run. They moved deeper into the cave system, feeling their way in darkness. The passages twisted, branched. Ryan moved away from voices growing louder behind them. They emerged into a larger cavern. Ryan activated the light stick. The cavern was full of bones. Massive skeletons sprawled across the floor, picked clean. What is this place? Talira breathed. A sound echoed from deeper in the cavern, scraping, clicking, something moving. The light caught reflective eyes in the darkness, dozens, hundreds. Run, Ryan said. They ran as the cavern exploded with sound. Whatever lived there woke up and gave chase. They sprinted through narrow passages as creatures poured after them. Insectoid things the size of large dogs with too many legs and mandibles that clicked against stone. Ryan fired behind them, dropped 2. 4 more took their place. Talira pulled him left through a gap in the rock. They squeezed through into another passage, too narrow for the creatures to follow easily. Frustrated clicking echoed behind them. They kept moving until the sounds faded. Ryan's lungs burned. Talira's limp had worsened. We need to find another exit, she said. They followed the passage upward. Fresh air hit Ryan's face, an opening ahead. They emerged onto a ledge overlooking the forest. Below, he saw lights. The search party. We're trapped between them and those things, Ryan said. Talira studied the cliff face. There, a path down, but it's exposed. Better than going back. They started down the narrow trail. Halfway, light swept toward them. Talira hissed. They pressed against the rock as a search team passed below, close enough that Ryan could hear their conversation. Commander Halleck wants them found before dawn. The High Matriarch has ordered Talira taken alive. And the human? Dead or alive, preferably dead. The team moved on. Ryan and Talira waited, then continued down. They reached the forest floor and melted into the undergrowth. "Who's Commander Halleck?" Ryan whispered. "My mentor, the one who trained me." Talira's markings flickered. "He'll anticipate my tactics, know how I think. Then we do the opposite of what he'd expect." Which is, head straight toward them, circle behind their search pattern. Talira stared at him. "That's insane." "It's what a human would do." She considered, then nodded. "Then we do it. They moved through the forest parallel to the search teams, staying just outside their perimeter. Twice they nearly walked into patrols. Once they hid in the hollow of a massive tree while soldiers passed within meters. Finally they reached the landing zone. 3 ships sat in a clearing, lightly guarded. "Can you fly one of those?" Ryan asked. "In my sleep, but we'd never get past security." "What if we created a distraction?" "With what?" Ryan pulled a thermal charge from his survival pack, standard equipment for scuttling disabled craft. This, understanding dawned on her face. "You're going to blow up your ship." "It's already dead. Might as well make it useful." They worked their way back to the river. Ryan rigged the charge to the reactor, set it for 5 minutes. "That's not much time," Talira said. "Then we run fast." They sprinted back toward the landing zone. Behind them, the explosion lit up the forest. Alarms blared. The search teams converged on the blast site. Ryan and Talira reached the ships. 1 guard remained, distracted by the explosion. Talira dropped him with a precise strike to the base of his skull. They boarded the nearest ship. Talira took the pilot's seat, fingers dancing across controls. The engines hummed to life. "They're going to notice," Ryan said. "Let them." The ship lifted as soldiers poured into the clearing. Weapons fire splashed against the shields. Then they were airborne, climbing hard toward orbit. "Where are we going?" Ryan asked. Talira's jaw set. Her markings blazed white. "To broadcast the truth. To both our people. It's the only way to stop this. They'll kill us. Probably, but at least we'll go down trying." She engaged the engines, and they rocketed toward the stars. They cleared the planet's gravity well with pursuit ships closing fast. Talira pushed the stolen craft hard. Ryan monitored sensors, 3 blips gaining. "Can this thing jump?" he asked. "The drive needs 2 minutes to charge." She banked hard, avoiding weapons fire. "And they know it." Ryan studied the display. "Let me take weapons. Your mentor knows how you fly. He doesn't know me." She gestured to the weapons console. "Blue triggers are energy weapons. Red is missiles." Ryan slid into the gunner's seat and tracked the lead ship. "They're hailing us," Talira said. "It's Halleck." Her markings went pale. "He wants to talk." Ryan saw the pain in her eyes. "Do it." A holographic display flickered, a male figure with silver-streaked markings and amber eyes. "Talira," Commander Halleck said, "I taught you better than this. You taught me to question, to think beyond doctrine." Her hands tightened on controls. "I'm doing exactly what you trained me to do." "I trained you to serve our people, not betray them." "You're wrong about them, about what they can teach us. We've grown stagnant, Halleck. 3,000 cycles without a real challenge." "So you'd throw away everything for a theory?" "To prevent a war that will destroy both our species." Halleck's expression softened. "Then surrender. I can negotiate clemency if the human dies." Talira's markings flared orange. "No, I won't trade his life for mine." Silence stretched. Halleck accepted negotiation was over. "Then I'm sorry, but I have my orders." The channel cut. All 3 ships opened fire. Talira threw the ship into a spiral dive. Ryan fired, clipped a pursuing ship's wing. It spiraled away, damaged. "Not bad," Talira said. The jump drive hit 90%. A proximity alarm shrieked. 2 more ships ahead. Boxed in. Fly straight at them full speed, Ryan said. They'll expect us to break off. At the last second, roll and we slip between them. That's insane, but unexpected. Her markings settled on determined crimson. If we die, I'm blaming you. She angled toward the ships and opened the throttle. Ryan armed missiles. The distance closed. 2,000 meters, 1,500. The enemy ships scattered. Talira rolled vertical and Ryan fired. One missile struck home. Then they were through. Jump drive at 100%, Talira said. She engaged, space folded, and they vanished. They dropped back into normal space. Ryan fought down nausea. Where are we? Neutral space, a dead zone. She powered down non-essential systems. This ship has maybe 3 days of life support. You said you wanted to broadcast the truth. Can we amplify the signal? There are old relay stations out here, abandoned but functional. Ryan pulled up navigation data. Can we reach one? Station Epsilon 7 is 6 hours from here. We'll have to shut down everything except engines and minimal life support. Then let's do it. The ship moved through the void, running dark. Ryan watched her work, saw exhaustion in her features. Her markings had dimmed. You should rest, he said. I don't want to be alone right now. He settled onto the deck beside her seat. She slid down to sit next to him, shoulders touching. Tell me about Earth, she said quietly. Beautiful in a messy way. Oceans, mountains, cities that never sleep. But we've got problems, conflict, scarcity. We haven't figured out perfection. We're not perfect. We just hide our flaws behind protocols. Maybe that's why we scare you. We don't hide anything. You terrify me, but not because you're human. Her hand found his. Because you make me want things I never allowed myself. A life outside duty. Is that so terrible? When everything I was taught says it's weakness. Then maybe you were taught wrong. She laughed softly. 2 days ago, I would have killed you for saying that. And now? Now I think maybe you're right. They sat in silence. Eventually her head came to rest on his shoulder. Ryan stared out at the stars. An alarm jolted them awake. Station Epsilon 7 appeared ahead, a skeletal structure drifting dead in space. Talira brought them in slowly. The docking clamps engaged with a shudder. It's holding, she said. They cycled through the airlock. Emergency lighting flickered weakly. They moved through dusty corridors to the communication hub. Banks of ancient equipment lined the walls. Talira cycled systems. The reactor is dead, but backup power cells should work. Lights flickered across equipment. Most displays showed red, but enough were yellow. We'll have maybe 15 minutes of broadcast time, she said. One shot. Ryan helped her patch their communication system into the station's amplifiers. Talira activated the recorder. What do we say? The truth. She turned to face the recording device. Her markings brightened. Ryan stood beside her. My name is Commander Talira of the Keltheran Defense Fleet. This is Captain Ryan Ashford of Earth. We're broadcasting from neutral space to prevent a war neither civilization can afford. She paused, gathered herself. Humanity discovered faster-than-light travel through methods my people consider reckless. Captain Ashford's mission was to test our defenses, an act of provocation born from desperation, not malice. Earth needed to prove they deserved to be taken seriously, rather than dismissed or destroyed. Ryan stepped forward. My government sent me knowing I'd probably die. But what I found wasn't just an advanced civilization. I found people as trapped by their own success as we are by our limitations. I freed Captain Ashford because killing him to protect our pride would prove we've learned nothing in 3,000 cycles, Talira said. My people have grown comfortable, rigid. We've forgotten that progress requires the willingness to fail. And Earth has forgotten that survival sometimes means knowing when to stop pushing, Ryan added. We're reckless because we have to be. You're cautious because you can afford to be. Neither approach alone will work. They looked at each other, then back at the recorder. We're proof our species can work together, Talira said. That human innovation combined with Keltheran precision creates something neither could achieve alone. If even one person hears this and questions the path to war, our sacrifice means something. Ryan took her hand. Don't let fear destroy what we could build together. Both species have something the other needs. Talira squeezed his hand, markings blazing white. We're transmitting our coordinates with this message. If you want to find us, you can. If you want to kill us for treason, that's your right. But if you want to try something different, something better, we'll be waiting. The recording ended. Talira initiated the broadcast. The station's systems hummed, pushing their message across the sector. Then the lights began to flicker. Power cells are draining faster than expected, Talira said. We need to get back to the ship. They ran. The station groaned as systems failed. They reached the docking port as emergency lighting died. Ryan felt his way through darkness to the airlock, pulled Talira through. The clamps released and their ship drifted free. They watched Station Epsilon 7 go dark, their message sent. Did it work? Ryan asked. We'll know soon enough. Talira brought the engines online. They had maybe a day of life support left, nowhere to run. They'd played their final card. Now they could only wait to see who came for them first. They drifted in the void for 18 hours before the ships arrived. Ryan saw them first on the sensors, multiple signatures dropping out of FTL in a coordinated pattern, too many to be just a strike team. His hand moved to the weapon at his belt. She was at the viewport instantly, eyes scanning the approaching vessels. Her markings cycled through rapid color changes, orange, violet, crimson, finally settling on pale blue. That's a Keltharan diplomatic escort formation, she said quietly. And those other ships? Earth design, Ryan finished, his chest tightened. Both fleets. They came together. They watched as the ships took up positions around their small stolen craft. No weapons charged, no attack posture, just a careful formation that boxed them in without threatening. A communication request pinged across multiple frequencies. Talira looked at Ryan. Together? He moved to stand beside her. Together. She opened the channel. 2 holographic displays flickered to life. High Matriarch Sivan on one side, her skin deep violet with elaborate silver markings. On the other, Admiral Catherine Shaw, gray-haired and steel-eyed, her uniform crisp despite the journey. Commander Talira, Sivan said, voice carrying the weight of centuries. Captain Ashford, your broadcast reached us. Shaw leaned forward slightly and caused one hell of a stir on both sides. Ryan straightened despite his exhaustion. Admiral Shaw. Ashford, you look like hell. Respectfully, ma'am, I feel worse. Shaw's mouth twitched, almost a smile. Your message interrupted preparations for war on both sides, fleet commanders ready to launch, strike teams mobilized, and then you two appear, broadcasting from a dead station about cooperation and mutual survival. We had to try, Ryan said. You committed treason, Sivan said, but her tone wasn't condemning. She turned her attention to Talira. You freed a prisoner, stole military property, and killed 3 soldiers during your escape. Talira's markings flared briefly. I did, and I do it again. Why? Because killing him would have been easier than questioning everything I believed. And because somewhere in 15 cycles of service, I forgot that the mission is supposed to be protecting our people, not our pride. Sivan studied her for a long moment. Then she gestured, and Commander Halleck appeared in the holographic display beside her. His expression was unreadable, but his markings showed deep amber, contemplation. Commander Halleck has spent the last day arguing against your execution, Sivan said. He claims your actions, while treasonous, demonstrate the kind of adaptive thinking our military has lacked for generations. Halleck's voice was rough. You were always my best student, Talira, even when you made me want to throw you out an airlock. Talira's markings brightened. Master. Don't master me. You're still in serious trouble. But his tone was almost fond. However, your broadcast raised questions I couldn't answer. If we execute you for showing initiative and courage, what message does that send to every officer in the fleet? Shaw cut in. Earth's position is similar. Ashford's mission was desperate and provocative, but it worked. He proved we could reach your worlds, proved we wouldn't roll over quietly, and then he did something none of our strategists predicted. He made you question your assumptions. With respect, Admiral, Ryan said, I didn't do it alone. Shaw's eyes shifted to Talira. No, you didn't. Which brings us to our current situation. Both our governments face a choice. Execute you both as examples, or accept that maybe two soldiers from different worlds know something we don't, Sivan finished. She leaned back in her seat. Your broadcast reached every major system in the sector. Public opinion on both sides is divided. Some call you traitors, others call you heroes, but everyone is talking about what you said, about cooperation instead of conflict. That was the point, Talira said. Yes, and it's forcing both our governments to reconsider our positions. Sivan glanced at Shaw. Which is why Admiral Shaw and I have spent the last 18 hours in direct negotiation. Something that wouldn't have happened without your intervention. Shaw nodded. We're proposing something unprecedented, a joint diplomatic initiative, formal contact between Earth and the Keltharan sovereignty, cultural exchange, technology sharing under controlled conditions, and you two. She paused. You two are going to be the face of it. Ryan blinked. Ma'am? You heard me. You wanted to prove humanity and the Keltharans could work together? Congratulations. You're now joint ambassadors to a new diplomatic corps. You'll be assigned a ship, a mission to explore neutral space and establish protocols for future cooperation. You're not executing us? Talira asked. Oh, you're both still technically guilty of numerous crimes, Sivan said, but executing you would make martyrs of you. And frankly, we need what you've proven, that our species can function together, that human adaptability and Keltharan precision can complement rather than conflict. Halleck spoke up. Consider it a sentence if that helps. Permanent exile from your homeworlds assigned to diplomatic service. You'll never set foot on either Earth or Kelthara again. Your families will be monitored but unharmed. You'll live in the space between our civilizations. Together, Shaw added, whether you like it or not. Ryan looked at Talira. Her markings had settled into brilliant azure. The color he'd learned meant hope mixed with determination. She met his eyes, and something passed between them. Understanding, acceptance, maybe even relief. We accept, they said in unison. Sivan's markings shifted to something that might have been approval. Good. You'll be transferred to a diplomatic vessel, jointly crewed by both species. Your first mission is to chart neutral territories and establish relay stations for future contact. You'll report to both our governments, and you'll prove that what you broadcast wasn't just pretty words. There's one more thing, Shaw said. Your families. Ashford, your mother wanted me to tell you she's proud of you, even if you are an idiot. Ryan felt his throat tighten. Thank you, ma'am. Sivan turned to Talira. Your mother and sister send similar sentiments, though your mother added that you've always been too stubborn for your own good. Talira's eyes glistened, but she blinked it away. That sounds like her. Then it's settled, Sivan said. The transport will dock with your current vessel shortly. You'll be transferred, debriefed, and assigned your new ship and crew. Welcome to the Diplomatic Corps. Try not to start any more wars. The holographic displays cut out. Ryan and Talira stood in silence processing what had just happened. We're alive, Ryan said finally. We're exiles, Talira countered. We're together. She turned to face him fully. Her markings blazed white, bright enough to cast shadows. She reached up and cupped his face in both hands. When I opened your cell, I thought I was throwing away everything for a chance at something better. I didn't expect better to actually happen. Still think I'm catastrophically stupid? Absolutely, but I think I might be too. She kissed him then, fierce and deep and full of everything they'd survived together. Ryan pulled her close, felt her heart hammering against his chest, felt the warmth of her skin through his flight suit. When they broke apart, both were breathless. So, Ryan said, joint ambassadors, exploring unknown space, living on a ship together. It could be worse. How? We could be dead. Fair point. The diplomatic transport docked with a gentle thud. Ryan and Talira gathered what little they had, not much beyond themselves and the choices they'd made. They cycled through the airlock into a ship that was clearly a compromise between human and Keltharan design. The crew that greeted them was mixed, humans and Keltharans working side by side, still awkward but trying. A young human ensign saluted. Captain Ashford, Commander Talira, welcome aboard the Horizon Initiative. Your quarters are ready. Our quarters, Ryan asked. Shared quarters, sir, standard for diplomatic partnerships. This way. They followed through corridors that hummed with integrated technology. The quarters were spacious by military standards, a combination of human practicality and Keltharon aesthetics, 2 sleeping platforms that could be joined, a viewport showing the stars, a workspace with dual-species interfaces. The door sealed behind them, and they were finally alone. Talira moved to the viewport, traced her fingers across the glass. I never thought I'd see my homeworld again. Now I know I won't. Ryan came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist. Do you regret it? She leaned back against him. No, I regret what it cost, but not the choice itself. Then we make it worth it. We prove that what we said in that broadcast wasn't just desperation. We show both our people that different doesn't have to mean enemy. She turned in his arms, her markings cycling through colors that he was learning to read. Azure for hope, gold for determination, violet for affection that she'd never been trained to express. You're going to be insufferable about being right, aren't you? Absolutely. Good. I'd be disappointed if you weren't. She kissed him again, and this time there was no urgency, no fear of dying before they could finish. Just the slow burn of something new and uncertain and worth fighting for. Later, as they lay tangled together on the joined sleeping platforms, Ryan stared up at the viewport. Stars stretched in every direction, unexplored territories waiting for them. Talira's head rested on his chest, her breathing deep and even, her markings providing soft illumination in the darkness. Ryan, she murmured, half asleep. Yeah? Thank you for pulling me into that cockpit, for not letting me stay behind. Thank you for opening that cell, for choosing chaos over certainty. She made a sound that might have been a laugh. We're going to rewrite the rules for how species interact, aren't we? Probably. Good. The old rules were terrible anyway. Outside their viewport, the Horizon Initiative's engines came online. The ship began moving, charting course for unexplored space. 2 civilizations watching their progress, 2 soldiers who'd become something more. 2 different hands resting together on the viewport, fingers intertwined, watching the stars scroll past as they left everything they'd known behind and sailed toward something impossible. Something human ingenuity and alien precision had built together. Something that might just save them all.